Do wrong to thyself. Thyself. ¿Qué habíamos dicho que era thyself? Es como thyself. Era myself, como myself. Thyself. Do wrong to thyself. Archaic or dialect form of yourself corresponding to the subject, though. See. Do wrong to thyself, do wrong to thyself, my soul. But thou wilt no longer wilt, que es will, W-I-L-T. Wilt, but
Wilt.
como marchitación, como cuando se marchita una planta, ¿no? Become limp through heat, loss of water, or disease. Droop. Wilt, my soul, but thou wilt no longer have the opportunity of honoring thyself. Every man's life is sufficient, but thine is nearly finished. Through though thy soul reverences not itself, but places thy felicity in the souls of others. Do the things external which fall Do the things external which fall upon thee distract thee? Give thyself time to learn something new and good, and cease to be whirled around. What does it mean to be whirled around? Wheel, to be whirled around, and cease to be no whirled, no whirled around. To be whirled around, to be wheeled around. Busy, rushed, or disoriented by rapid succession of event of tasks. Very busy, rushed. Okay. To be whirled around. Okay. To be whirled around, to be whirled around, to be whirled around. But then thou must also avoid being carried about the other way. For those two are triflers who have how do you pronounce that? Weird, weird. I don't know how to pronounce that though. Weary, tired, tired. Yeah, tired. Wearied. For those who have triflers who have wearied themselves in life by their activity and yet have no object to which to direct every movement, and yet have no objects to which to direct every movement, and in a word, all their thoughts, through not observing what is in the mind of another man, has seldom been seen to be unhappy. Through not observing what is in the mind of another man, has seldom been seen to be unhappy. But those who do not observe the movements of their own minds must of necessity be unhappy. Ok, básicamente lo que nos dice es que observando qué es lo que está en la mente de otros o viendo qué es lo que está en la mente de otros, pues en realidad no nos hace infelices, pero si no, pero ver, observar lo que no observar los movimientos de nuestras propias mentes es algo que es necesario. But those who do not observe the movements of their minds must of necessity be unhappy, o sea que van a ser infelices si no ven lo que piensan, analizan. This thou must always bear in mind what is the nature of the whole, and what is my nature, and how this is related to that, and what kind of part it is, of what kind of a whole, and that there is no one who hinders thee from always doing and saying the things which are according to the nature of which thou art a part. Theoblast, Theophrastus, in his comparison of bad acts, such as a comparison as one would make in accordance, in his comparison of bad acts, such as a comparison as one would make in accordance with the common notions of mankind, says, like a true philosopher, that the offenses which are committed, like a true philosopher, that the offenses which are committed through desire are more blamable. True philosopher, that the offenses which are committed through desire are more blamable than those which are committed through anger. For he who is excited by anger seems to turn away from reason with a certain pain and unconscious contraction. But he who offends through desires, being overpowered by pleasure, seems to be in a manner more intemperate and womanish in his offenses. Pleasure. Intemperate. Intemperate. Intemperate and more womanish in his offenses. Rightly then, and in a way worthy of philosophy, he said that the offense which is committed with pleasure is more blamable than that which is committed with pain. And on the whole, the one is more like a person who has been first wronged and through pain is compelled to be angry. Obligadas, no, compelled es más como compel, compel, to be compelled, force, oblige, sí, forzado to do something, compelled to be angry. But the other wrong and through pain is compelled to be angry, but the other is moved by his own impulse to do wrong, being carried towards doing something by desired. No, being carried towards doing something by desire. Since it is possible that thou mayest depart from life, since it is possible that thou mayest, ¿qué significa mayest? Mayest. Vamos a ver.
Mayest.
Okay, person, singular, present of may. Okay. Person, singular of may. Why the mayest? Ok, mayest, supongo que es como may, pero en, en inglés antiguo. En inglés, sí, básicamente, medieval. No. Wrong, being carried towards something by desire, since it is possible that thou mayest part from life. This very moment, este preciso momento, regulate every act and thought accordingly, but to go away from among men, if there are gods, it is not a thing to be afraid of, for the gods will not involve thee in evil, but if indeed they do not exist, or if they have no concern about human affairs, what is it to me to live in a universe devoid of gods or devoid of providence? But in truth, but in truth, providence es como providencia, o sea, Providence tampoco ya no es muy usado, pero the protective care of God or of nature as a spiritual power. Clueless. This is to me of devoid of gods or devoid of providence, but in truth, they do exist and they do care for human things, and they have pull have put all the means in a man's power to enable him to not to fall into real evils. And as to the rest, if there was anything evil, they would have provided for these also, that it should be altogether in a man's power not to fall into it. Now, that which does not make a man worse, how can it make a man's life worse? But neither through ignorance, not having the knowledge, but not not the power to guard against or correct these things. It is possible that the nature of the universe has overlooked them. Nor it is possible that it has made so great mistake either through want of power or want of skill, that good or evil should happen indiscriminately to the good and the bad. But death certainly and life, but death certainly and life, honor and dishonor, pain and pleasure, pain and pleasure. All these things equally happen to good men and bad, being things which makes us neither better nor worse. Therefore, they're neither good nor evil. How quickly all things disappear in the universe, the bodies themselves, but in time the remembrance of them. What is nature of all? What is the nature of all the sensible things, and particularly those which attract with the bait of pleasure, or terrify by pain, or are noised abroad by vapory fame. O sea, vapory es como algo, básicamente, como flint, como algo pasajero, sino vapory, sino vapory of a nature vaporoso, básicamente, pero sí, fame. Ok, noised abroad. Noised abroad, ¿qué significa noised abroad? Noised abroad, noised abroad. To be spread as the rumor, to be made widely known. Noised abroad, como hacerte ruidoso, no, no ruidoso, pero, o sea, estar en la boca de otros muy famoso, ¿no? Básicamente. Noised abroad by vapory fame, how worthless. Worthless es alguien que no tiene sin valor. How worthless and contemptible. Contemptible. Contemptible es como una persona despreciable, ¿no? Contemptible. Despreciado. Despreciado. Contemptible and sordid. Sordid, sinceramente, sí. No, no sé bien la palabra exacta. Sordid. Sordid. Miserable, básicamente. Involve in noble action and motives arousing morals and the state and contempt. Sórdido, alguien sórdido, dirty and in bad condition, marked by baseness or grossness, filthy. Bueno, sí, básicamente algo como miserable, ¿no? And all these, this is the part of the okay. No, sordid and perishable, and perishable and perishable, o sea que mortal, and death they are. All this is a part of the intellectual faculty to observe, to observe to who these are, whose opinions and voices give reputation, what death is, and the fact that if a man looks at it in itself and by the abstractive power of reflection resolves into their parts of all things which present themselves to the imagination in it. He will then consider it to be nothing else than an operation of nature. He will then consider it he will then consider it to be nothing else than an operation of nature, and if any one is afraid of an operation of nature, he is a child. This is, however, is not only an operation, but it is also a thing which conduces to the purpose of nature. To observe, too, how man comes near to the deity, una deidad, ¿cómo se dice? Deidad, deity,
Deity.
deity,
Deity.
deity, deity,
Deity.
deity, and by what part of him, and by what part of him, what part of deity, deity,
Deity.
deity, and by what part of him, and what this part of a man is so disposed, and when this part of a man is so disposed. Hasta aquí, mis amigos y amigas de YouTube, hasta aquí vamos a analizar. Hoy es bastante para procesarlo. Mañana otras hojas más. Y pues muchas gracias.